Sigma personality types are the rarest, being also one of the most misunderstood. For a lot of people, Sigma males seem like a paradox. They are introverts who love quality conversations, they are intuitive types who focus on facts and logic, and yet they have strong opinions about everything from fashion to philosophy. They are also perfectionists who spend far too much time trying to perfect their work. The truth is that these traits are only paradoxical if you assume that introverts hate people, that intuitive types must live in fantasy worlds, and that perfectionism leads to paralysis rather than excellent artistic works. These assumptions simply aren't true. Sigma men are often accused of being elitist, but their minds just work a little differently from other types. If you're a Sigma, you'll quickly learn that people aren't always going to understand your logic and reasoning behind your decisions. So let's see 10 things you didn't know about the Sigma personality. 1. They are the least conforming types of personalities. They are not so many non-conformists as they are people who simply ignore the rules if it doesn't suit them, or if following said rules would render a project unworkable. Most people automatically follow their feelings, even if those feelings dictate behavior that doesn't make logical sense. Sigma males don't feel emotions as strongly as other types, and thus cannot rely on emotion to dictate their behavior. This is the source of many Sigma quirks, including their difficulties with social norms and rituals. They don't ignore social rules out of malice, but instead out of pragmatism. For example, they may not understand why you'd spend hours and hours writing or crafting a card for someone's birthday. They'll do it because they love you, but on an emotional level, they just don't get it. 2. They are more interested in ideas than they are in people. Sigma men tend to let emotions flow over them without sticking very long, except for negative emotions, which can inspire bursts of energy and creativity that last for days or even weeks. They love the process of thinking and creating, and they get restless when not given ample time to work on their projects. Thus it's no surprise that Sigma males often come across as cold and aloof. They are only interested in people who can contribute something useful to an idea, everyone else is just a distraction. And since most people aren't useful, this means that they often come across as cold and aloof. 3. They are highly individualistic. Sigma men are the only type whose leadership style is democratic, rather than authoritative or some variation thereof. This is because they feel that rules are made to be broken if they don't make logical sense, or if they can't be justified as a means to an end, the end goal being the project and its success, then rules aren't meant to be followed. Thus Sigma males look upon efforts at social control with disdain. For them, social conventions are either tools to help them accomplish their goals, or obstacles that must be overcome. This makes them very difficult to control, which is why organizations have a hard time keeping Sigma men in line. 4. They appreciate efficiency and good architecture. Sigma males are big fans of things that work as opposed to things that are merely pretty or flashy. In fact, if it takes an unnecessary amount of effort to do something, it's probably not worth doing. They like to get right to the point and make things happen efficiently and quickly. They don't like wasting time, and they don't like big, complicated messes. They'd much rather focus their energy on a project that has the potential to make a difference, or make life easier or better. 5. They are optimists. While they don't necessarily enjoy seeing people unhappy or in pain, Sigma males are the type most likely to dwell on positive possibilities rather than negative ones, sort of like a hard-headed, more rational version of a Pollyanna. They know that life is going to be full of problems and disappointment no matter how many precautions one takes, so they make the best of the cards they are dealt. They are also likely to look on the bright side even when they don't have any good reason to do so, which is why they often come off as cold or two-faced. 6. They aren't as intelligent as others would think. Anyone thinks that introversion correlates with higher intelligence and extroversion correlates with lower intelligence. The latter is the reason why most normal people are so chatty, since they have little to say of substance but are compelled nonetheless to fill every silence. What few realize is that this also applies to introverted types just as much as it does to extrovert types. There's nothing duller than someone who can't shut up long enough to let other people express themselves. Sigma men are the smartest personality type, but they are not necessarily smart in the way that most people assume. 7. They hate conflict and criticism. Sigma males don't like to get into fights with people. They are not scared of conflict, but they'd rather avoid it if possible. In fact, criticism is so distracting that the majority of Sigma men are only willing to have one argument with anyone at a time. This is why it's so hard for them to express themselves in relationships. Any disagreement is too much for them to handle. But if they are forced into a conflict, they'll win it at any cost. They will refuse to back down from an argument even when the odds of winning are extremely low. They have a never-give-up attitude that makes them difficult adversaries to beat. But this also means that they are reluctant to fight in general. Most would rather work things out diplomatically, if they can. 8. They are the most loyal, dedicated type of people you'll ever meet. This doesn't mean that their loyalty and dedication is always obvious. In fact, they may seem the least loyal type. But it's their introversion that allows them to focus on you with such intensity. When you care about someone, it's easy to put them first, at least some of the time. But for a Sigma, their introversion allows them to focus on you, and you alone. You may not get preferential treatment. Sigma men aren't naturally warm people, but you will have their undivided attention. No one else exists for them at that time, and they'll always take the time to figure out what you need. 9. They are decisive and persistent. Sigma males don't like to waste time hashing things out with other people. They want to be efficient and get down to the business at hand immediately. Because of this, they often come across as assertive, presumptuous know-it-alls. This is because they see things objectively. If something needs to get done, then it's up to them to do it. If the situation changes, then that's fine too, but until then, Sigma men are on task. So while most types would be content to just sit back and let things happen, Sigma males are constantly making decisions and taking action. 10. They are easily bored and fall asleep in boring situations. Because social events and interactions are extrovert behaviors, Sigma men don't understand the point in attending them, when an alternative explanation or argument can be reached via a more efficient means of communication. As a result, they are often seen as antisocial loners who aren't any fun to be around, even though they are actually having a great time by themselves. Because of this, they will often feign excitement in social situations when they are expected to participate.